by Don McLean. And he wrote this in 1969, and he actually very much loved, he was from the 50s, and he loved the sound of pure rock and roll, you know, like from the, you know, before it became revolution music, or he liked folk songs and that pure, Richard, Little Richard kind of thing vibe. And so he was a little disappointed. So he wrote this song, and he read a few people. I had to actually research something because it's like some of the lyrics, I'm like, what is he talking about? And I want to know, you know what I mean? I'm a curious person. So I looked it up. So what he's talking about is February 3rd, 1959, when there was a plane crash and Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, and the Big Bopper all went down, right?
Right.
So that they literally call that the day the music died. So he wrote that song about that particular incident, and he went on and on. It's like 79 verses. We're not gonna do all of them. We're gonna do the ones. We're gonna do the ones I got written on everything. Okay. A long, long time ago, I can still remember how that music used to make me smile. And I knew if I had one chance, I could make those people dance, and maybe they'd be happy for a while. But February made me shiver with every paper I deliver. Bad news on the doorstep. I couldn't take one more step. I can't remember if I right when I read about his widow bride, but something touched me deep inside. The day the music died. So bye bye, Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. And good old boys was drinking whiskey and wine, saying this will be the day that I die. This will be the day that I die. Did you write the book of love? You have faith in God above, if the Bible tells you so. And do you believe in rock and roll, in the music, save your mortal soul, and tell me, can you teach me how to dance real slow? I know that you're in love with him, 'cause I saw you dancing in the jam. You both kick off your shoes, but I did that rhythm and roll. Ooh, I love the roll. The teenage rockin' buck in a pink carnation and a pickup truck. But I knew I was out of luck the day the music died. We all sing bye bye, it's American Pie. Drove the Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. And the old boys was taking whiskey and wine, saying this will be the day that I die. This will be the day that I die. Now for 20 years we've been on our own. Boss grows fat on a rolling stone. But that's not how it used to, not how it used to be. See, when the Jessica sang for the king and queen, the coats we borrowed from James Dean. talking about?
Come on, break it down.
Now get your pen and paper.
Break it down. Break it down.
Jesus juice.
What he's talking about here is, see now he says for 10 years, because he wrote this song 10 years after David Music died, right? So he said 10 years we've been on our own and moss grows fat on a rolling stone. Now, what he's talking about right there is, now I do, Bob Dylan, you know, the great folk singer-songwriter, he was very pure with like just folk music for, you know, the beginning of the 60s and in the 60s. And then he had his biggest hit, which was, you know, Rolling Stone, like a Rolling Stone. And that for most people was Bob Dylan doing pop music. So this kind of like irritated Mr. McLean a little bit. So now this is the other thing. I just realized I found this out. I was like, oh well, really? Woodstock happened. And they wanted, because Bob had a motorcycle accident. Bob Dylan had a motorcycle accident. He was like off for nine months. He decided he was just not going to perform. He didn't want to be seen. So he went and hid out in a cabin in Woodstock. So they basically held Woodstock in Woodstock to try to get Bob Dylan out of hiding. See? Right? So he knew this. You know what he did? It was a kind of a dick move, actually. What he did was...
Tell the truth. Right. 5,000 years, right?
Like, see, I feel like I'm talking to my family, you know, so... We ain't supposed to say dick move on stage.
What it was.
So he kind of dissed the Woodstock people, and then motherfucker went to do the Isle of Wight concert at the same time. He went and did another festival, just to basically throw the middle finger to the Woodstock people. Yeah, he was always a protest artist. So he says moss grows fat on a Rolling Stone because he was laying around getting fat off the royalties of Rolling Stone. And then he said, but that's not how it used to be. And when the jester, he calls Bob Dylan a jester. He said when he's saying for the king and queen, now the king and queen were the leaders of the folk music. So that would be Joan Baez and Richie Havens. He called them, no sorry, Pete Seeger and Joan Baez, because they were a couple. So he called them the king and queen of folk music.
He's breaking this down.
You know,
Break it down.
I'm saying I want y'all to be with me. I want y'all to be with me. So he said while the king and queen were looking down, the jester stole their thorny crown.
Wow.
Damn.
He said, and the courtroom was adjourned. No verdict was returned.
Wow.
Okay, I gotta play this little piece here. Okay, this piece is dark. He goes into the Beatles. They're actually called the Beatles, but we're gonna call them the Beatles tonight.
You need another glass, baby.
Clearly, I know need another drink of wine.
We got more.
So the Beatles. John Lennon. He was very revolutionary. He went through his little teeny bopper phase, and then he decided he was, he's a revolutionary protest artist as well. And he started studying communism and Marx. And you know what I'm saying? He went for it. And so he says, so while Lennon is reading a book on Marx, a quartet practiced in the park. He's talking about Candlestick Park. That was the last performance of the Beatles. What? And he said, and we sang, because he's mad right now. He's mad, right? He says, and we sang dirges in the dark. Yeah. The day the music died. Damn.
Damn.
Sing? Okay. Okay. And we started singing bye. You gotta know. I may as well sit down. Right? Okay. So now he's on to the Rolling Stones. Okay. First he talks about Helter Skelter, because that's a Beatles song, which crazy dude, y'all know Helter Skelter, no guys. Crazy dude thought the song was talking to him. Okay. Backwards. So Helter Skelter in the summer swelter, right? Because it was a very record high hot summer. Okay, and then he says the birds flew off in a fallout shelter. And there was a song called The Birds, and the birds stopped playing, and the fallout shelter actually means, a fallout shelter at that time meant a rehab facility. Okay? And he said, 8 miles high and falling fast. 8 miles high meant getting high.
Yes.
Then he said, but it landed on foul grass. Foul grass would mean marijuana. Now,
We have no idea what you're talking about.
correct. Neither did we. So the players tried for a forward pass while the jester was on the sidelines in a cast, because remember Bob Dylan was still laid up, doing his dick moves. With a cast on. Okay. Right, okay, now he goes on to talk about the sergeants playing, right, y'all know the Sergeant's Peppers, right, okay, sergeants playing marching tune. We got all up to dance, but we never got the chance, because it can't be, again, he's saying the whole movement, the protest movement basically failed, is what he's lamenting this as well. The players tried to take the field. This is all the kids out there trying to, flower power and all this, try to take the field. The marching band refused to yield. The government refused to yield. Do you recall what was revealed the day the music died?
Damn.
We started singing by This song is deep. Love it. See, this one says I write lyrics. I write lyrics because I like lyrics. So what he's saying now? This is when he really he's getting up Mick Jagger's ass, right? Because he said, come on, Jack, be nimble, Jack, be quick, Jack Flash sat on a candlestick, because fire is the devil's only friend. Woo! Read him, and he said, so you know what happened? There was a show back then, and the Rolling Stones tried to recreate Woodstock, and they did it in their own show, and it was a terrible incident because they were trying to be revolutionary as well, but when you're trying to be something, it doesn't work out. You have to just be who you are. See, so you can't attempt, you can't try to imitate. You need to just be true to who you are. So they were trying to imitate, and you know what happened? They hired the Hells Angels to be the security for the show. How you gonna hire the Hells Angels? But the fun part is, so instead of paying the Hells Angels, instead of paying them actual money, they paid them drugs.